Hi there, I am leadership coach and mindset coach Claire Ackers, and this is the Circle of Influence tool. So this is a oldie but goodie tool I use absolutely loads of my leadership coaching clients. The main benefits you will get are feeling in control and being able to take positive action, which is something we could all do with at the moment. Um, it's also amazing for reducing stress and anxiety and is an absolute staple in building resilience. Does that sound useful and timely? Um, Before we get going, I should mention that this exercise is inspired by Stephen Covey. I'm not claiming to have invented it, however, I have adapted it for the challenges that my clients frequently have, many of whom are striving to grow and scale amazing businesses. Okay, so let's get going. Um, I should mention that there is a template for this exercise available on my website, which I'll link to at the bottom of the video, but you don't need it to use it today. All you need is a pen and paper, some coloured pens if you have them, and let's get going. So the first thing you need to do is draw three circles as big as you can. You can see on my whiteboard here, I have one I prepared earlier. So in the middle circle, you need to label that control, and that needs to be quite big because we're going to try and fit quite a bit in there. There's a second circle, and label that influence, and then one wide circle on the outside, and that is to be labelled out of control. The next step is to brain dump everything that is going on for you at the moment, all the issues that are on your mind. So use coloured pens for this. I've got some mini post-its I like to use. The colours don't mean anything, it's just to make it nice and colourful and get everything that's on your brain on those little bits of paper. So in the interest of speed, here's mine that I prepared earlier. So I'm going to choose where to put those on the model. So first up, I've got political and economic decisions. So that is going in the out of control ring. That goes on there. And then I've got the news, what's happening in the news. That goes into out of control as well. Coronavirus can definitely go into out of control. So that goes on there. And then next I've put my relationship, my marriage. Now I can't control what my husband does, but I can control how I act in the marriage. So that's going into influence. Next I've got how I react to stuff. Now that is definitely going into my control circle in the middle. Next I've got the kids' health. That can go into influence. Much as I'd love to be able to control it, it's got to go in influence. Then I've got my health, again that can go in influence as well. Then I've got social media. I'm going to put that into influence. I've got my own thoughts, that can go into control. I've got my mindset and self-talk, that can go into control. I've got the kids, that's definitely influence, can't control them. I've got exercise, that can go into influence. And then I've got friends and family, which can go into out of my control. I've got working from home, I'm going to stick that into influence. And then finally, just for fun, I put shopping delivery slots, which can go into out of control. So they look about right to me. So what can we do with this information? So this is where it starts to get really, really interesting. And the aim is to move as much as we can to the inner circles. So from out of control into influence, or from influence into control. So for example, I have got shopping delivery slots in out of control. However, I can look at it in a bit more detail and break it down a bit more. So I can't control if any shopping delivery slots are available. However, I can control other things around that. I can influence things. So, for example, I've got friends who got up at 2 a.m. to buy the slot and waited online for hours and hours and hours to be able to edit their shopping basket. Now, I'm not saying that I would do that, but I could. That's within my sphere of influence to do that. So I'm going to move that one into influence. So I can influence how and how I spend my time. So once we've moved things into the inner rings, we're left with things that are out of control. So for me, that's coronavirus, the news, and political and economic decisions. I can't do anything about those. So let's not waste our time worrying about it. I don't know about you, but that thought does give me a kind of peace. So in the middle ring, we then have influence. So this is stuff we can influence the outcome of, but not totally count on controlling. So for example, I can influence my health by eating well and practicing yoga to keep mentally strong, but I have to accept that I may get ill. And then the middle one is control. So this is where as leaders we should be spending our time, because that's where the magic happens. We're not going to get through this period in our history by staying small. I truly believe we have got an opportunity and even a responsibility to redefine what success looks like and role model this for others. So your circle of control will be different for each of us. But in brief, we can control our thoughts, we can control our self-talk, and we can control our mindset. And we can control how we react to stuff. So for example, be careful about what you let into your world. Don't let social media into your brain 24 hours a day, just for a small example. So this is obviously a very, very brief introduction into the concept, but if you want to go deeper on this, drop me a line, claire@essaysearch.com, and let's discuss it further. Let me leave you with a quote by Viktor Frankl: "The last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, and to choose one's own way." Thanks so much. See you soon.